Satadine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so if you remember, it all began with the Prayag. In Prayag, there's a Brahman there in Prayag who was worshipping the Lord very beautifully. He was on pilgrimage and he stopped and he had an altar and he was worshipping. I think he was worshipping Shalagam Shila, and he was in great ecstasy. And he was worshipping, he was serving everyone, feeding them all prashadam, very exalted. That was a Brahman from Prayag. Then the Brahman from Prayag, then and hearing the praises from Narada, then he became embarrassed and he spoke about a southern king. Must be in the south of South India, and the whole king, his whole kingdom was devoted, and he was leading them in acts of devotion and was glorifying his kingdom. Then from there, the southern king sent Narad to, where did he send him to next?
Indra, wasn't it?
Indra, yeah. So then it goes from Boma.
Indra?
Yeah, it goes from Boma, then it goes to Divya, which is the heavenly realms. So there's Indra. Then the next one after Indra. Brahma, yeah, that's quite easy, these three. And then the obvious one after that is Shiva, yeah. Now then, yeah, and then the chapter changes. It's beyond the material world. Because Shiva's abode is beyond the material world. So first of all, Brahma glorifies Lord Shiva.
Sorry, Karnamaya is asking a question.
Yes, please, Mother.
It's on the chat.
Okay. Oh, a question on the chat. Let's have a look.
Sorry. It was, what page are we on?
It was a deep philosophical question. Yeah. I don't know where it is in a
475. 84.
So then we go beyond the material world to Shiva Loka. And Shiva begins glorifying the residents of Vaikuntha at this point. And then
Lakshmi.
Yeah, then the glorification goes to Lakshmi. And then at that point, Narada becomes quite ecstatic and he wants to go to Vaikuntha. But then Shiva reminds Narada, actually, the Lord is present on the earth and he's now present here living in Dvaraka. And then he begins to glorify a little bit of Dvaraka, the residents of Dvaraka, and then the queens and Rukmini. But then he suddenly begins to speak about Prahlad Maharaj. So Narada Muni doesn't go to Vaikuntha at this point, or he doesn't go to Dvaraka even. Because Lord Shiva then brings up about the greatest devotee on Bhoma, or is Prahlad Maharaj, or not in Bhoma, but the greatest devotee is the great devotee is Prahlad Maharaj. So actually, from Shiva, the next one that Narada visits is actually Prahlad Maharaj.
So he doesn't go to Vaikuntha.
No, not at this point.
They're talking about Lakshmi and all that.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't actually go. Yeah, there's an interesting little interlude that takes place there. So then it's Prahlad Maharaj. And then the next one, Prahlad begins to defeat all the glorification coming from Narada Muni. And then Prahlad he speaks of
Hanuman.
Correct, yeah, Hanuman.
Yeah, we went.
And then Hanuman then speaks about the glories of the
Pandavas?
Yes. Pandavas, yeah, very good. Mother Chandravali has memorized, yeah. So the Pandavas. And then the chapter is now that we're on is Priya, the beloved. And now we're hearing about the Yadavas. I think, we're going to be hearing about the Yadavas, yeah, next in Dvaraka. Yeah, now we're just beginning to hear glorification of the Yadavas by the Pandavas. So that's then where Narada Muni goes next to the Yadavas. Okay, so that's where we are. That's the So let's begin reading. So Nitai Mata, you have your hand raised. You can begin reading at text 84. Chapter Priya, the Beloved. Chapter 5, I think it is. Are you there? You need to unmute if you're speaking. She's not there, I think. So perhaps Sahachari Mother, you can begin reading.
Were you saying to me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu. I didn't hear that, my name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, your hand is raised. Is it raised for reading?
Because I couldn't hear my name. Sorry.
Okay.
Where are we? Sorry. Which
Text,
one?
text 84.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Queen Kunti is speaking. I think.
Yeah. So I will start with but now, yeah? Okay. Um, but now the thought that Krishna is merciful to me never enters my mind, for everywhere in our home and the homes of our neighbors I hear the loud mourning of women whose relatives have been slain. In the aftermath of the devastating battle at Kurukshetra, Kunti cannot even think to herself that Krishna has special affection for her family. Certainly, while speaking to others, she is reluctant to say anything about Krishna's mercy.
Can I quickly ask a question?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Okay. You know, here, certainly while speaking to others, she is reluctant to say anything about Krishna's mercy. So when you do realize Krishna's mercy in your life, are you not allowed to speak about it? Like you see a hand in your life in something, you know, should you be quiet?
Well, it's not as if you're not allowed, but generally, things that are being revealed to you, you should generally, you're going to keep it a little bit confidential, because other persons might become envious, and also there's a danger that we might be becoming proud. But it doesn't mean we don't say anything. Basically, we can glorify Krishna and how merciful he is to us, but we have to be a little bit selective of what we might say and who we might say it to.
Okay.
Because that's what we've heard as well in readings, and there's verses to that effect, that generally Vaishnavas do not advertise themselves. They do not want to display their exalted status, although they don't think they're exalted anyway. But generally there is the mood. But there's some things which are quite okay to speak about, you know.
Okay. I was just thinking, like, if you really, really feel like, really, Krishna is so amazing, Krishna is so merciful. He just did this. You know, you really are thinking of Krishna. You're not even thinking about yourself, really.
Yeah, that's fine. That's called Krishna consciousness. That's where we're, and that's what we should be doing, and we should be glorifying Krishna. If you see the example of Srila Prabhupada, for example, there was no doubt that Krishna was reciprocating with him in many wonderful ways. Sometimes when, for instance, when Prabhupada speaks about you can see Krishna, Krishna will speak to you. He actually says it with emotion. So that means that Krishna is speaking to Prabhupada. Krishna was directly revealing himself to Prabhupada, but Prabhupada never directly said that. So he preaches you understand how he preaches in a so-called indirect way, but actually he's speaking about his own realizations. But he won't say Krishna spoke to me. He will say Krishna will speak with you. And he will say it with conviction, because Krishna did speak to Prabhupada. Yeah. But see how Prabhupada presented it. He didn't say Krishna spoke to me. Yeah, because someone who is wont to say something like that, generally these are persons who are perhaps a bit bhajas, or Krishna appeared to me in a dream. Krishna said this to me. Krishna said that to me. That's the type of things you're going to want to keep confidential. You might speak about such revelations with the spiritual master. But you see how Prabhupada did it?
Yeah.
Yep. Prabhupada would always glorify Krishna. So Krishna may reciprocate in many wonderful ways and you may be quite overwhelmed. So therefore, you can glorify the general principle of Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees. You know, that's the language that you then express it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But is this what Queen Kunti is expressing here? In the aftermath of this devastating battle, Kunti could not even think to herself that Krishna has special affection for her family. Certainly while speaking to others, she's reluctant. Yeah, I think that's correct. Because here, this is really very vividly described. I think, let's see if, before I start speaking about it, I think it's going to be described in the next chapters.
Like I was thinking, all her family was like intact, you know, like the
Yeah.
five.
Because at this point, because there was I think there was something like 30 million or 45 million people took place in the Battle of Kurukshetra. And we can imagine a scene after the battle, or we can try to imagine a scene. It's really nicely described in a version of the Mahabharata that I have. It's really a moving description after the battle. Because you mentioned before that there's thousands and thousands of mothers, thousands of daughters, thousands of relatives, and there's hundreds of thousands of fires where they're burning the bodies. There's hundreds and hundreds of Brahmins saying prayers. And it's like, can you imagine a scene when over 40 million people are being killed? Can you imagine what that looks like? Absolutely. It's like a nuclear holocaust. So it wasn't all joy. It wasn't all joy and party time. It was complete devastation. That's why the devastating battle thereafter. I think it took them 2 months. The Pandavas were leading everyone we're managing the last rites for all the troops, both on the Kuru's side and the Pandava side. So every day for 2 or 3 months, they was doing last rites.
That's why Muli Prabhu at the end, then Yudhishthir was very sad what has happened, and you know, he just didn't want it to sit on the you know, in the kingdom either.
That's one of my favorite parts of the Mahabharata, where then Yudhishthir sees that, and he does not have the heart. He sees it all as being his fault, so he can sit on the throne. Then he goes through the same extent, like crisis is the same that Arjuna did. Doesn't want to do his duty. So then all the Pandavas, they then speak to Arjuna, and then eventually
they go and see the
grandfather Bhishma.
Grandfather, that's right. That's when he sort of
So that's why Kunti's seeing this, and therefore she concludes that, you know, she can't even think to herself that Krishna's special affection for her family, seeing this devastation. The whole family is being annihilated. So what special affection? Anyway, you can read that if you want in the Mahabharata. It's the Shanti Parva, it's called. The Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata. At the beginning, describes that. All right. Continue, Nitai Mata.
Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Next page for me, thank you.
85, yeah.
Therefore, deprived of seeing him, I beg Krishna to take away our wealth and give us more calamities to bring him again within our sight. The family has won back their kingdom. Kunti still sees no happiness because they no longer can see Krishna. They were happier when struggling against one danger after another. Thus Kunti prayed to Krishna, I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again, for seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths.
Let's just repeat this verse. This is a very well-known verse. Many devotees know this verse. It's very important. Vipado shantu tashasvat guru bhavato darshanam yatshata purna bhava darshanam So Bhava darshan, they can get the darshan of Krishna. If they get the darshan of Krishna, they will no longer see upon the bhava, no longer see births and deaths. So she's praying. So she's seeing Krishna will come on the scene during all the calamities. Anyway, yeah. Continue reading.
Okay.
A devotee.
A devotee who has been the lotus feet of Krishna, who has seen the lotus feet of Krishna, is guaranteed liberation from the cycle of birth and death. But the Krishna conscious devotee sees also that this liberation Apunar Bhava
Darshanam.
is nothing compared with the pleasure of seeing Krishna in one's own relationship with him. Okay, can I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah, let me just see that. A devotee who has seen the lotus feet of Krishna is guaranteed liberation. But the Krishna conscious devotee sees also that this liberation is nothing. Yeah, compared with the pleasure of seeing Krishna in one's own relationship. So the devotees are not desirous of moksha. They're not desirous of liberation, although that comes from having darshan of Krishna. Yeah, they're interested in this word here. Serving Krishna in one's own specific loving relationship. Yeah,
I have a question because you did mention to Mother Chandravale's question, you said sometimes devotees can be proud, but if Lord reveals something, that devotee cannot be proud, isn't it, Prabhu? He will be more humbled.
No, see, that's the nature of a devotee, is that they are always mindful and they always want to they're always careful. So therefore, they will not advertise themselves because they see themselves as being subjected to becoming proud. So out of humility, they will not want to advertise themselves for the danger of maybe becoming proud. So in other words, that a devotee always prays and always wants to keep themselves in the mood of humility.
Yeah.
So they're always they will, for instance, Madhavendra Puri, that story in Chaitanya Charitamrita when the deity stole the sweet rice for him. Yeah. And the Pujari came out, "Where is the fortunate Madhavendra Puri? Where are you? This Lord has saved you, sweet rice. You're a most fortunate person." So obviously everyone in the village was hearing that. And you know what the villagers are like? News spreads like wildfire. So that no attention would be unduly given to him, then he left that village because he didn't want, out of his humility, he didn't want to put himself in a position where he might become proud. So therefore he left the village. Though a devotee at that stage is the personification of humility, but that's why it's quite intriguing, because it means that if one thinks, if one actually thinks, now I'm very humble, that means they're proud, you know. So devotee he's always very careful, like Madhavendra Puri, he kind of left. So in the same way, devotees will not want to take any chances.
At the same time, Prabhu, can it be even somebody may say what you realized, but it's not necessary the other person has to accept it. So even you say, and if someone says, "No, what are you talking?" So that is again, it's a test of humility. "Oh, you must be talking. This is not right." Okay, fine, no problem. So can it be that way, Prabhu?
I lost you there, Mother. I couldn't quite picture.
I was saying,
again.
Okay, what if something like that?
Something like that, like what?
Sorry, no, something like, okay, you were saying, if Lord reveals something or said something that you
I'm with you there.
Yeah. So even you, just to inspire someone, that if you share it, just to inspire.
Yeah, but you inspire, but devotees will do it.
In
They
a
will
different
not say I. They
in
will
that,
not say I. They will say Krishna is so merciful.
yes, that's true. Yeah. They
There is,
won't say I. No, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
they will generally, yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think, Muli Prabhu, it does help if you do say something to the devotees. It gives them more encouragement.
And
Oh,
the
yes.
Yeah.
more,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think like my son was saying in Australia, this devotee actually, when he was in Sydney, I think, and he was so just used to be just like, there's a festival and, just like what we do all the time. He used to work so hard, everything he used to do so much. And one day when he was chanting his bead very deep inside, and then he's just so rather on his face, and he just thought, no, it can't be. Then he was carrying it on, and he was smiling, and it's really nice listening to, gives us more motivation to encourage us. So that's what I think what
yeah.
Gita Mata is saying. That's what it's wonderful,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said in the beginning. You have to be a bit you have to be discriminating in what you may reveal. So it's things like we've had plenty of conversations here in our classes.
Yeah, we
devotees have revealed how they've actually experienced Krishna's grace and mercy.
Definitely, yeah.
So some things are appropriate to actually share. But it's things like, for instance, my Guru Maharaj, then he's obviously had some far out revelations, I would say, about his relationship with Krishna. And from what I hear, he has. And there's one book he's written of different dreams he's had, which he doesn't want to be printed until he leaves this planet. So, but he's not going to say that on the Vyasasana. These are the type of things that won't be, especially your personal relationship with Krishna, and any. So these are things you want to be a bit more selective. You want to. It's not that. Again, you have to be selective of what you might share. Like that experience, time, place, and circumstance. That was a devotee. He was expressing about his inner inspiration during japa. So that's that I would say that's okay, but you're not going. But not, so you understand there's different levels of revelation. There's, I won't have it on hand now, but I was reading these verses from this Christian saint where she was saying the same type of the Vaishnava understanding is that the more you say about your personal revelations from Krishna, the more it hides itself. That the more it goes. But the more you keep it secret, then the more it glows.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Because it's not a cheap thing. It's not cheap.
No, not at all.
Very, 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 very special. It's very, very personal. So these are your intimate personal realizations with Krishna. Those are jewels, and you'd want to keep them in your heart. But you will be inspired by them, so that inspiration will inspire you to glorify Krishna. Like you will say how beautiful Krishna is. But devotee is saying it because he's seen Krishna. Krishna's revealed himself and showed that he's beautiful. But devotee will not say directly, Krishna showed himself to me, I saw him. No, he will just say how beautiful Krishna is. He or she will say how beautiful Krishna is. And then they're glorifying, their chant verses from, for instance, Nectar Devotion, Krishna's beauty. And they will always want to glorify Krishna because they have seen Krishna, they've experienced Krishna. So they all, Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, I think you're obviously referring to advanced devotees, that devotees never speak theoretically. They speak of realization. Yeah. See, same as Gaur Govinda Maharaj would glorify Krishna in a wonderful way. And as we know, there's that well-known story where he went into bhava.
Trance, yeah.
Trance. So he obviously had some far out revelation. He was there for a month.
Yeah, loads. Yeah.
But
Very
what
nice.
did he do? But what he didn't do, he kept what he saw as a jewel within his heart. But he preached, after that, his preaching became extra powerful, full of, but he never put it, he would never express the personal revelations he actually had. So there is things which are appropriate to share, and things that are directly in regard to your relationship with Krishna. They're very special. So you want to keep them.
Yeah, definitely you do. But the thing is that sometimes you think you hankering for it for so long, and as I said, time and time that he sometimes should feel sorry for us. Please show us your mercy.
Yeah, that's why there's also a section in the think in the Sudha Bhakti Chintamani where ecstatic devotees, Bhava Bhaktas, these ecstatic devotees, in the beginning, because of the ecstasies of their realization of Krishna on the spiritual platform, they become quite unhinged sometimes, and a little bit kind of unpredictable. So then the devotees at this stage, they have to learn to assimilate these ecstasies, the realization of Krishna. And it's just like, can we imagine the ecstasies and the revelation that Prabhupada was getting on a daily basis?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But he would, for the sake of the mission, for the sake of setting the right example, then he would manage his ecstasies. Sometimes he wouldn't be able to, but most times he would.
Yeah, he would control it, wouldn't he?
So hopefully we will have that problem one day.
We are waiting.
Is it
Yes, please.
everyone is on a different platform, right? So if you reveal these things, sometimes you might disturb another person and disturb their sadhana. So this is the reason you do not reveal everything.
Yeah, very good point, Kunamai. I think we mentioned at the beginning, but she's bringing it out again. Yeah, because that disturbs some persons will become envious. Some persons will become envious of you and start accusing you of being a sahaja.
Yeah.
As well.
So I just wanted to say, Prabhu, sorry. If someone accuses you, at the end of the day, nothing happens without Lord knowing. So that is also part, isn't it, Prabhu? Why are we thinking of somebody will be like that? Why are we breaking our head for that?
Well, we have to be. Well, it comes down to the same point: is that we do have to be careful of what we may say, because it just so happens that some persons might become envious, and we don't want that. Devotee doesn't want that, so, or they may be misunderstood.
Prabhu, how can we stop somebody's thoughts process, whether the person is favorable to you or envious? You don't have that control, isn't it, Prabhu? If we are trying to put ourselves in a place, okay, I don't want to do this because somebody will be envious. I don't want to do this, somebody will not like it. So that means we are in a box then, isn't it, Prabhu? I don't know. Sorry I just want to understand.
Good point, but not completely. I mean, yes, it's a fact that whatever we do in this world, there will always be a fault. Every endeavor is covered with some fault, no matter what you do. So, whatever Raj Bhog you cook, whatever garland you make, whatever way you dress the deities, there's someone who's going to find a fault in it. I think much.
That's material world.
There's not much. Whatever kirtan you lead, whatever you do, someone's going to see it in a certain way and find fault. That is beyond our control. So that, as you're saying, we have to accept as part of living in the material world, living in the jungle of this material world. But there is some things within our control that we have to be a little bit selective of what we might say to who and when. In order to, because that's the Vaishnava way, and I think we mentioned many times. It's been mentioned many times in Sudha Bhakti Chintamani, and also when it comes up in Chaitanya Charitamrita, because there are some people who take it very cheaply. They would say, yeah, I saw Krishna last night, and I have attained Krishna.
Mm.
But our mood is like the six Goswamis, is that we are aspiring to obtain Krishna. So we never say, yes, I have, I have really, even the six Goswamis, they obviously they were seeing the spiritual world, but they was always hankering and speaking as if they were bereft of mercy and grace. Even there's a book called the Vilapa Kusmanjali, which my Guru Maharaj has written in the back of, it's an appendix. It's soon coming out in the 5-volume book. But there, that's the we've gone off a bit of a tangent here, but check the time. Just finish it. But in that, there's that is Raghunath Das Goswami in his mood of Rati Manjari, who is going in and out of samadhi in his personal service as Radharani's Manjari maidservant. So he's going in, and again he's finding himself as being an old sadhu in a Vraj, and he feels great separation from that samadhi. So he's actually there. He's actually there dressing Radharani and assisting her and reminding her of Krishna, and all is really nicely described. But then the way he writes, he doesn't write it like I. He writes of someone aspiring. Is he says, when oh when will I come before you, O Radharani? When oh when will I decorate your hair and your braid? And when oh when will I speak to you about Krishna? And when oh when will I clean your commode with my hair? So he's actually doing that in his samadhi. He's actually there. But when he writes about it, he writes in a way, when oh when will I obtain that? He doesn't say, yeah, I was just in samadhi and I was doing this and I was doing that. He doesn't say it like that.
So basically, it's always future for them, not the present.
Yeah.
When will it comes.
Yeah, actually, it's quite deep, actually. I can't say I understand it fully, but... Yeah.
And again, another was just the last thing I thought, materialistic people, they always want money, money, money. How much ever they have, they're not enough. Like they are hankering. Similarly, the six Swamis also, they are in the full bliss and they are in total mercy, but still they want more and more and mercy.
Yeah, that's one of the deals in Krishna consciousness, is that you're never going to be satisfied.
Exactly.
But it's different. This non-satisfaction, because devotees become nourished, they become enlivened, they become transcendental to the modes of nature, they become effulgent, they become full of bliss in their hankering more and more for Krishna. Whereas those who are hankering more and more, I'm just reading about Hiranyakasipu, for example. He wants to gain more and more, but becomes more degraded, more bound, more lost, less effulgent, more miserable, more controlled by the modes of ignorance. So that's where the greed leads to. Greed leads you to on the material platform. But that same greed for Krishna, it's different. It's of a different nature, obviously. But the point is, you can never be satisfied. You always want more, because that pulls you forward as well. Pulls you forward. All right.
Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you. More on this subject, a nice tangent we've gone off on. I don't know how we got there.
But it was nice nectar. Yeah. It was nice sharing.
Now we have to swim back. We've swum out in the deep end, swimming pool. Now we got to find our way back. Yeah.
To the reality.
I even forgot who is reading. I forgot even where they're reading from. I think
I am the one.
Me, my mother. Okay, so you're on text 86. Is that right?
Yeah, 86.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Krishna gave the Pandavas their kingdom, freed from thorny opponents. Now thinking the brothers satisfied, he has abandoned us and resides in Dvaraka.
And resides in Dvaraka, yeah.
So I have given up hope that he will ever come back. Now I think his real mercy would be my quick death. Yeah.
What does she mean by that? What does she mean by that? Now, I think his real mercy will be my quick death.
So she's not going to see Krishna, and Krishna is not going to come back.
Yeah, so quick death means she'll attain Krishna's lotus feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, go back
She'll
to
always be with
Godhead.
Krishna. Yeah. Okay.
My last thread of hope that Krishna is always compassionate to his friends and relatives can easily break if I simply consider how strongly he is attached to the Yadus. Yudhishthira reached the same conclusion that the Pandavas cannot cope to compete for Krishna's attention with the Yadavas of Dvaraka. The Yadavas, as Krishna's family members, have first claim on Krishna. They are his uncles, cousins, and sons. And from Kunti's point of view, the Yadavas much more strongly than the Pandavas are connected with Krishna as his loving servants.
Yeah. Okay, perhaps Sachari Mother, you like to read from text 89?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Text 89. Therefore, see the divine Yadavas, the Lord's most beloved associates, who live immersed in a vast, unequal ocean of joy. My Lord Narada, you may know very well how great they are. What can I tell you about their glories? Commentary. Narada, Kunti says, should go to Dvaraka to see the Yadavas, follow the example of their devotion, and achieve the mercy of their association. They are the best of all, the Supreme Lord's exalted devotees, including Brahma and the other demigods in the heavenly planets. Garuda and the other Parasadas of Vaikuntha and Prahalad, Hanuman, and other Vaishnavas in the world of mortals. Kunti thinks that because of the Yadavas are absorbed in ecstasy, Narada's ecstasy will certainly increase in their company. Remaining with Kunti and the Pandavas, however, will only drag him down into misery. In case Narada suggests he can derive enough satisfaction simply by hearing about the Yadavas from Kunti and her sons, Kunti reminds him that he already knows the residents of Dvaraka better than the Pandavas do. Since Narada has visited Dvaraka many times, what can Kunti tell him that he does not already know? He should just go to Dvaraka, where he can see Krishna's full mercy. Text 90. Sri Parikshit said, O mother, O wife of Lord Yadavendra's nephew, the exalted sage Narada swiftly arrived at Sri Dvaraka. He entered the inner city, repeatedly offering prostrate obeisance, and saw from a distance the fortunate Yadu heroes. Commentary. Srimati Subhadra is the sister of Sri Krishna, the worshipable lord of the Yadu dynasty, and Uttara, the wife of Subhadra's son Abhimanyu, gave birth to Maharaj Parikshit. Therefore, if the Yadus are as fortunate as the Pandavas describe, Parikshit's mother also shares in their blessedness by being a member of the family. Text 91. He beheld them sitting at ease in the blessed assembly hall, Sudharma, ranked in order of importance. They sat replacent with the ornaments of their own bodily beauty and were further adorned with garlands of parijata. Commentary. Text 91 through 96 describe the splendor of the Yadus. Narada found the Yadu rulers convened in the hall.
So now Narod's gone to Dwarka, yeah? So now it seems like Narod's gone now to Dwarka. Is that correct? He's now gone there.
Yeah. He's with the Yadus now, right?
Yeah. You got a quick.
Which he belonged originally to the heavenly kingdom of Indra. Under the Yadus, however, the glory of Sudharma has increased. Now, even more than while in Swargaloka, it manifested Sri, the opulence and favor of Lakshmi Devi, the supreme goddess of fortune. Free from envy and petty rivalry, the Yadus sat happily in order of seniority by age. Although they were all fabulously rich and powerful, they had no desires for anything material. Their treasure in life was the prize of their dynasty, Sri Krishna. They accepted the trappings of royalty only because these were suitable for their service to Krishna and gave him pleasure. The heavenly hall Sudharma and the priceless jewels, garments, and Parijata garlands added nothing to the natural beauty of their transcendental bodies, which shone with the splendor of their pure love for Krishna and for one another. Text 92. They were being regaled by festive song and dance in the most celestial style and praised by the bards in splendidly tasteful words. The music, dance, and drama performed in the Yadu assembly were divya, equal to those heard and seen in Indra's Swarga, and also Atidivya, equal to those in Lord Narayan's Vaikuntha. All perfections of this world and the kingdom of God attended the Yadus like menial servants. Text 93. The Yadavas laughed among one another and exchanged clever jokes and quips, the effulgence of their bodies surpassing that of the sun, their personalities full of charm. Although the light radiating from the bodies of the Yadus was more brilliant than the sun, that effulgence, unlike the sun globes, did not pain the eyes because of the Yadus' very gentle and pleasing nature.
Nice description, isn't it? That try and picture that in your mind.
Yeah.
More effulgence sun, but a effulgence that doesn't cause disturbance to the eyes by their nature. Pure devotees, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like
many kinds of...
Sorry, carry on. Chandravali?
Many kinds of...
Just thinking that, doesn't it feel like being part of them, so...
Yeah, very fortunate, yeah.
Yeah,
very fortunate.
To be all so nice, caring with each other, looking so brilliant, the atmosphere, singing, dancing.
So there is an eternal Dvaraka, as well. I think this is, but the Dvaraka on Boma, eventually it gets submerged in the sea. And they all go back to because there's also demigods there as well. There's demigods and there's pure devotees, and they go back to respective bows. But yes, these are all everyone there is spontaneously and lovingly devoted to Krishna. Yeah, you can continue, Mother.
Yeah. Many kinds of precious ornaments decorated the Yadavas, and even some of the most elderly members of the assembly had obtained new youth by constantly enjoying the nectar of Sri Krishna's lotus face. The perpetual youth of even the oldest among the Yadus is affirmed by Sukadeva Goswami. Even the most elderly residents of the city appeared youthful, full of strength and vitality, for with their eyes they constantly drank the elixir of Lord Mukunda's lotus face. Bhagavatam 10:5-19. Text 95. Surrounding Maharaj Ugrasena, the Yadavas glowed brilliantly as with reverent eagerness they awaited the arrival of Sri Krishna. King Ugrasena sat on his throne in the midst of the assembly, served with his white umbrella, yard tail fans, and other royal emblems, reflecting the king's imperial potency. All the Yadava princes glowed brilliantly, like many suns in the sky. But even though commanding so much material power, every one of them wanted nothing but to see Krishna and be with him. Krishna joined them every day in their assembly, yet every day they awaited his arrival with great eagerness. He was their Deva, their only object of worship. Text 96. Countless millions of Yadavas waited, absorbed in talk about Krishna, their minds and eyes anxiously focused on the path from Krishna's inner palace. Just as one who feels at ease talks about what is on his mind, the Yadavas naturally discussed Krishna, the pastimes he had performed on various occasions, and also the business at hand with him in the royal assembly. The Yadavas had no inclination to talk or think about anything not involving Krishna. The dynasty of Yadavas was so populous that Sukadeva Goswami thought them practically uncountable. The Yadu dynasty produced innumerable great men of famous deeds. Even in hundreds of years, O king, one could never count them all. I have heard from authoritative sources that the Yadu family employed 800 million teachers just to educate their children. Bhagavatam 10:90, 40 to 41.
38
Srila
billion.
Sridhara Goswami.
1,000. Yeah. That's a lot of teachers. That means there's a lot of children. Yeah.
Yeah. Srila Sridhara Goswami explains that the number of teachers cited by Shukadeva Goswami is a conservative estimate obtained from hearsay, but the number might be much higher. Since teachers often take responsibility for dozens of students, the total number of school-aged boys in the Yadu family is beyond estimation, and they're only a fraction of the whole family. Text 97. As soon as the Yadus learned that Narada had arrived, came running out in a flurry. They quickly raised him from the ground, took him by his hands, and led him into the assembly hall. Text 98. They offered him a large heavenly seat, but he refused to sit on it. Yielding to his desire, they gave him a place to sit on the ground, and they all sat down around him. Text 99. When they brought paraphernalia for worship, the chief sage among the gods bowed his head to it with folded hands. He then stood up and humbly spoke to them at length. Text 100. Sri Narada said, O greatest receivers of the mercy of Krishna's lotus feet, you are all the transcendental persons. Today, please be merciful to me. Please bless me that I may wander always throughout the universe, constantly singing your glories. Narada would rather not waste time glorifying anyone but the Yadavas. Text 101. Indeed, this family of the Yadus is most praiseworthy. You are more radiant than the residents of Vaikuntha. By your grace, this world of men has surpassed Vaikuntha and attained supreme glory. In Vaikuntha, the personality of Godhead has many splendid associates, whose character and appearance are universally praiseworthy and attractive. Narada is surprised to see that the earthly inhabitants of Dvaraka are still more exalted than Garuda and other Vaikuntha associates. The Yadavas have mercifully spread pure devotional service to Krishna throughout Mrityaloka, the world of short-lived human beings. Thus, they have made this mortal realm more splendorous than Vaikuntha. The devotees of Vaikuntha are certainly favored by the Supreme Lord, but not as much as the devotees of Dvaraka. Text 102. Most fortunate Mother Earth, by your fruitful endeavors, these Yadavas have manifest upon your surface their birth, residence, and pleasing acts. The Supreme Lord Hari resides in their homes and enjoys with them unprecedented transcendental pastimes. Narada's shifting mood of ecstasy led him momentarily to stop addressing the Yadavas and turn instead to the planet Earth, upon whom Sri Dvaraka Dham has descended. The presiding goddess of the earth is certainly familiar with the Leelas of Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha and the Leelas of his various avatars. She has witnessed many of these pastimes, and from the Puranas, she knows others. But what she sees now in the sacred district of Dvaraka is altogether unprecedented. The Lord of the spiritual and material universe consorting with his servants and their intimate relative.
Okay, perhaps stop there, Mother, and we'll let who else? Anupama would like to read. Just before, just remembering how, isn't it, Narada Muni goes to Dwarka, because Krishna there in Dwarka, he has 1,008 wives, isn't it? Did I get that right? 1,008 wives.
Yeah.
And there's a wonderful chapter in the Krishna book where Narada, in amazement, is seeing Krishna, who's expanded himself and is engaged in all different types of family affairs and all the different palaces. And he actually glorified, and there he's glorifying the opulences of Dwaraka. So here we're hearing how it's more opulent and the more effulgent than the residents of Vaikuntha. But it's also interesting as well that we see the size of the family and how powerful the family is. Then there's that pastime where Krishna, at the end of his pastimes, he sees the Yadavas as could be a good burden upon the earth because they're so powerful. An amazing twist of a story. And then we hear how Shamba, isn't it, one of the Krishna's the boys became, they're quite boisterous, and they joke with the sadhus, isn't it? They put a lump, there's a whole story, then a lump of metal, etc., etc. So that might come out. I don't know if it come out here, but that was just coming to mind as we're hearing about Dvaraka, Bhoma Dvaraka, that actually they got to go through some pastimes,
Yeah, I was thinking of the children. So Krishna had 1,600 wives, right?
And he had 10. He had 10 sons with each
and one
wife.
daughter.
Yeah. So you can do your maths.
Imagine, yes.
Yeah, that's where there's millions of hundreds of thousands of teachers. Yeah, inconceivable. You can see the opulence and yeah. All right, Anupama Mother, you can take us to the end. We got 6 minutes left.
Okay. Krishna has now forgotten Vaikunt, for he is bound by intense, unbreakable, loving exchanges with these Yadus. He sees the Yadus, touches them, talks with them, sits with them. He eats and sleeps with them, follows them when they walk, take part in their marriage ceremonies, and shares in their other activities of embodied life. These relations are more tangible than the yogi's union with him in meditation. Thus, by his pastimes, Krishna spreads among the Yadus infinite pleasure, ever fresh and indescribable, destroying any desire they might have for heaven or liberation, and increasing more and more their devotion to him. Shri Krishna descended to us not only for his own enjoyment, but also to give pleasure to his devotees. Some of the Yadus might once have harbored desires to attain the higher celestial worlds and associate with Krishna then. Some of the Yadus, in fact, had descended from the planets of the demigods, so in their human pastimes, they might naturally have felt an urge to return to heaven. But after they lived for some time with Krishna in Dvaraka, such unsuitable desires in their hearts dissolved. The Yadus lost every trace of interest in liberation from the cycle of samsara because they wanted never to be deprived of the opportunity to take birth again and again in the company of Krishna. The Yadus' meditation on Krishna is much more strongly focused than the dharana and samadhi of yogis. Whereas impersonal meditations fall prey to various distractions, even in their so-called perfection of samadhi, Krishna's devotee in Dvaraka, in their Krishna samadhi, cannot be shaken in any way, at any time, by anyone or anything. Nothing can distract their meditation, because at every moment they experience the incomparable happiness of Krishna consciousness. To achieve limited versions of spiritual perfection with dimensions of happiness that are monotonous and meager compared to pure devotional service, conditioned souls must undergo disciplines like the Eightfold Yoga process. The Yadus, however, have purely spiritual bodies and therefore have no need to submit their bodies and minds to yoga discipline. They are eternal friends of Yogeshwara, the master of all yoga. Instead of struggling to cultivate some inward meditation in the company of Krishna, they effortlessly enjoy in various ways with all their senses. As recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam 1082, 29 to 30, King Yudhishthira tells the Yadavs, the water that has washed his feet, the words he speaks in the form of the revealed scriptures, and his fame, as broadcast by the Vedas, these thoroughly purify the universe. Although the earth's good fortune were ravaged by time, the touch of his lotus feet has revitalized her, and thus she is raining down on us the fulfillment of all our desires. The same Lord Vishnu, who makes us one forget the goals of heaven and liberation, has now entered into martial and blood relationships with
marital
and blood relationships with you, who otherwise travel on the hellish paths of family life. Indeed, in these relationships, you see and touch him directly, walk beside him, converse with him, and together with him, sit at ease, lie down to rest and take your meals. In these two verses spoken during the meeting of Krishna's devotees at Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthira congratulates the Yadavs for the supreme fortune of their intimacy with Krishna. The water that has washed Krishna's feet in the form of the river Ganga purifies the whole universe of its sins. His instructions in the form of the Vedas educate human society to the standard of natural spiritual life, free from illusion. But despite his constant presence in these two forms, in course of time, the earth picks up from the creatures she supports more sinful contamination than she can bear. Her glory then becomes a mere shadow of what it was. To deliver the earth from misfortune, therefore, Krishna appears in the Yadu dynasty. Just by the touch of his lotus feet, she regains her former strength and can once again shower the Lord's devotees with the fulfillment of their needs and desires. The Yadus especially are so satisfied living on the earth with Krishna that they entirely forget about heaven and liberation. They prefer to stay entangled in their relations with him through marriage, yuna, and birth, pinda.
Okay, please we'll stop there.
Question.
Yes, please, yeah.
Question, sorry. Okay, so our goal is to go back home to Goloka Vrindavan. Now, when we hear all these pastimes, all these different places, Vaikunta, Dvaraka, this and that, we kind of feel, oh, I wish I was there with Krishna there. But we have to make sure our goal is Goloka Vrindavan. So how do you work that out in your head?
Well, be patient. Goloka's coming.
Yeah.
It is coming. We can just imagine that this is a build-up. This is a build-up. We're hearing the glorification and the relationship with Krishna is becoming more profound and more sweet and more amazing. So now it's going to continue going to different places. And you wait till we hear the descriptions of Goloka. And you'll find that it will increase, it be even more sweet and more attractive than what we're hearing here. It's just picture the relationship between Krishna's relationship in Goloka. Here, what we will hear is there's a sense of it's wonderful, but there's a sense of awe and reverence to Krishna. But in Goloka, there's no sense of that at all. And Krishna manifests his full sweetness is manifest there. The rasa is manifest in its complete form there in the Swakiya relation, in the Goloka. So just be patient and don't worry. Your mind, your heart and mind will be